So now we're importing something which allows us to get access to the database connection we set up initially when starting our server, which now is a concept that we can reuse. So in the save method of the product model, I can now get access to my database by calling getDB. Remember, getDB does simply return that database instance we connected to. So now we have a connection which allows us to interact with the database. And then here in MongoDB, you can call collection to tell MongoDB into which collection you want to insert something, or with which collection you want to work. Because remember, in MongoDB, you have databases, collections, and documents. We have a database connection here, so the next level is a collection. So here we can connect to any collection. And just as with the database, if it doesn't exist yet, it will be created the first time you insert data. So here, I'll connect to a products collection. Now on that collection, we can execute a couple of MongoDB commands or operations. Now a full list can be found in the official docs, and of course you'll learn all about them and all the details in my full MongoDB course, which I mentioned. In the official docs, you can click on MongoDB server, and here, for example, click on MongoDB CRUD operations to learn how to insert, find, that is what query is, update and delete documents. And you'll see all the examples here and all the commands and how to configure them and so on. So this is a great place for you to dive deeper besides the other course I mentioned. But of course, here's a short introduction too. If you want to insert data, you can do this with insert one, or if it's multiple documents at once, insert many. Insert many then takes an array of JavaScript objects you want to insert. Insert one, which I'll do here because I want to insert one product, only takes the object you want to insert. Now, what do I mean with object? Well, you would simply pass an object where you have, like, for example, name, a book, price, $12.99, and so on. So this is something which would be valid code that would insert such a document into the database. By the way, this is not JSON, this is a JavaScript object, but it will be converted by MongoDB. However, here in our case, essentially it's the product which we want to insert, right? So we could just say this and see how that works if we try to insert this into our database. Now this is all we need to do right now. Insert one then returns us a promise. So we have then and catch, and we can log any error we found, or we can have a look at the result we get back. So we can console log the result. With that out of the way, let me remove the sequelize model and export our class with the save method. And now with that, we fixed the model file. Let's now go to the admin.js file. And here, obviously, we got a couple of methods or a couple of functions which still use parts of the model that won't work anymore. Like this one here, request user create product for adding a new product. This will not work anymore. For now, we'll have to create a product without storing something about the user. We'll reintroduce this later again. So for now, we can override this here though. And I also want to comment out my other methods because these will not work anymore. So let's comment them out. We'll comment them back in later once it works. And therefore in the admin routes, here routes admin.js, there I also want to disable all routes that will not work anymore. So essentially that's all but this post route. So here for getting all products, this will not work anymore. And all these routes down there will also not work anymore. But these two routes should still work for add product. So now with that, I need to fix one more thing in the app.js file. Here, I need to import .mongo connect here from my database utility file. And with that, now we're not only connected, but we should also be able to insert a new product already. So let's try this out. Visit localhost 3000/add product. And this won't load because in app.js, when I commented out the code here in app use, well, I should at least call next. Otherwise, every incoming request will die here. So with that changed, now if we reload, we are back on our admin add product page. Now let's simply check this and see if it works by adding a product. Now, I get an error here regarding create product, and that of course makes sense because in the admin.js file, I didn't change any code. So let's work on that code next, and let's make sure that we can add a product.